Chapter 1, The Tape. It started because the Wi-Fi was down. Not buffering for a few minutes down, gone. Gone like it had died screaming somewhere in the wall. I kicked the router once, gently. Nothing. Then harder. Still nothing. So I did what any self-respecting 18-year-old would do in a power outage of the soul. I went snooping. Aiden's room was closest, and he never locked it. His logic was something about privacy is for people with secrets, which was the kind of thing someone with secrets would say. I wasn't looking for anything specific. Maybe one of his games. Something offline. Something distracting. I wasn't expecting to find the camera. It was half buried under a hoodie on his dresser. The lens cap was off like he'd just used it. I picked it up, testing the weight. Heavy. I wasn't snooping. Not really. Just curious. Just bored. The SD card slid out with a small click. I popped it into my laptop and waited. One folder. No label. No password. Just timestamps. I clicked the newest file. The screen flashed once. Then it played. The angle was crooked. Handheld. The light was dim, flickering from a bare bulb above. It was a basement. Definitely not ours. There was a chair in the middle of the frame. And someone in the chair. They weren't moving. First I thought they were asleep. Their heads slumped forward, face hidden by hair. Then Derek walked into the frame. He was wearing black gloves, boots. His mouth was smiling, but his eyes. I stopped breathing. He leaned in close to the person in the chair, whispered something. Then he lifted their chin. The camera caught the face. Bloodied, mouth gagged, barely conscious. I hit pause. My hand was shaking. I hit play again. I don't know why. Derek stepped back and spoke to the camera. Calmly, as if he was explaining a recipe. This was a long time coming. Some people never learn, do they? He turned back to the person. They whimpered. He didn't hit them. Not yet. Just stood there, cracking his knuckles. Smiling. I closed the laptop. But the sound was still in the room. In my head. Some people never learn, do they? I stood. My legs barely cooperated. I backed away from the desk like the laptop might explode. I had to tell someone. I had to call the police. I had to. Wait, I didn't have my phone. I'd left it charging in the kitchen. I stumbled down the stairs 2 at a time. Everything was vibrating now, walls, floorboards, my heartbeat. I reached the kitchen. Stopped. My phone was gone. The charger was there, empty. I turned slowly, pulse pounding. A shadow moved at the corner of the hallway. A voice followed. Hey kid. Derek. His smile was the same one from the video. Too knowing. I froze. He stepped into the kitchen like he lived there. He held up my phone, wagging it between 2 fingers. Looking for this? I didn't answer. Couldn't. My throat was full of battery acid. Derek smiled wider and slipped the phone into his pocket. Then he stepped closer, and closer, until I could smell his cologne. Citrus and smoke. Burning and sweet. He leaned down, just enough to whisper. You saw something you weren't supposed to. I swallowed. My voice scraped its way out. I didn't mean. He cut me off with a soft laugh. But you did, didn't you? His hand brushed my hair back. Almost gentle. My stomach flipped. His breath hit my ear. It's okay. We'll fix it. He pressed something cold and sharp against my side. A knife? No. Keys. Then he said it. Soft, almost affectionate. You know too much, Liam. But maybe we can make this work. Chapter 2. You weren't supposed to see that. It was the way he held the keys that scared me. Like this wasn't even plan A. Like it had always been the plan. Let's go, Derek said. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't drag me. He just turned and walked out of the kitchen, slow and sure, like I was already following. And I did. I followed him, like an idiot, like someone who wasn't fully awake yet. Outside, the night swallowed everything. No stars. No moon. Just the glow of Derek's tail lights blinking like a warning. The passenger door was already open. I stood there, frozen on the porch. My bare feet stuck to the wood with dew. I should run, I thought. I should scream. But my throat was raw, and my legs weren't listening. They were waiting for permission. Derek leaned across the front seat and called out, "If you're thinking about running, Liam, you'll just make this harder for both of us," he said. I got in. The seat was cold. The belt clicked into place with a mechanical finality. Derek didn't say anything for the first 10 minutes. No music, just the road, and his fingers drumming the steering wheel. Calm, steady, like nothing about this was strange, like I wasn't being kidnapped. Eventually, I found my voice. It was quieter than I remembered. "Where are we going?" He didn't look at me. "Somewhere we can talk. I won't tell anyone, I swear. Just drop me somewhere. You don't have to do this." A small smile curved his mouth, but his eyes stayed on the road. "Liam, come on. You're smarter than that. You're making a mistake. I make lots of those, but this isn't one." He glanced at me just briefly. We left the city lights behind. The road narrowed. Trees leaned in on both sides like voyeurs. My palms were sweating. I tried the door handle. Locked. Derek sighed. "Don't. You're not chained in a basement. Okay? Are you gonna do that?" "No. But I can if that's what makes you feel safer." The casualness of it landed like a slap. "You're insane." He nodded. "Probably." Silence. Then he added, "But not stupid. That's important." Somewhere between the 4th turn and the 10th lie, I asked, "Was it real?" "The video." His hands flexed on the wheel. "I'm not answering that." "So it was." He laughed short and sharp. "That's what you got from that? What was I supposed to get?" "That people make mistakes, that you shouldn't go looking through your brother's things," he said. I blinked. "You did that to protect Aiden?" He didn't answer. Just turned left down a dirt road so narrow it scraped both sides of the car. The tires crunched like bones. We pulled up to a cabin. Not a cottage. Not a cozy Airbnb. A cabin. The kind serial killers decorate in movies. No lights. No sounds. No cars. No phone lines. Just rot and trees and wind. He killed the engine. Then looked at me. Really looked. "I didn't plan this, but maybe it's for the best," he said. Then, reached into the glove box and pulled out a roll of duct tape. I flinched, but he only held it up between us. "Just your wrists. For now. You understand." I shook my head. "No. I don't understand anything. I'm not going to hurt you. I just need time. Time for you to stop seeing me as a bad person in your head." His voice was gentle. The kind of gentle you use with animals before you put them down. "Aren't you?" Something flickered across his face then. Something bitter. Something like grief. "I know," he said. He taped my wrists. Not tightly, but enough. Then he walked around and opened my door. He helped me out like this was some date gone awkwardly wrong. "Watch your step," he said. I didn't. I stumbled. Nearly fell. He caught me. I wanted to bite him. Scream. Kick. Cry. Instead, I let him hold me. Because the ground felt like it was falling away. Because his hand was warm and steady on my back. Because I didn't know what else to do. He guided me toward the door. The keys jingled again in his fingers. "You'll see," he said. Then we went inside. Chapter 3. The cabin. The first thing I noticed was the heat. Not warm. Stale. Like the air had been held in someone's mouth too long. The door shut behind me with a hollow thud. And the lock turned. Not loudly. Not in warning. Derek walked in like he'd done it 1,000 times before. He dropped the duct tape on a small wooden table and flipped a switch. A single bulb above us blinked to life. Yellow, dim. The walls were plain wood. No pictures. No signs of life. Just a battered couch, a small kitchen, and a hallway that led deeper in. I cleaned. Didn't know I'd have company. But still, Derek said like that mattered. He gestured for me to sit. The couch groaned under me, dust whispering up around the edges. My wrists were still taped. They itched. Derek crouched down in front of me. We were eye level. I tried not to meet his gaze. I failed. "Let's talk," he said. I didn't answer. He smiled. Still mad. I blinked at him. Mad? I wanted to scream. I wanted to dig my nails through his face. I wanted to wake up in my bed realizing this is all just a dream. But my heart was too scared. I looked away. Derek looked at me. I'm not going to hurt you, Liam. That's not what this is. What is this exactly? Therapy? A sleepover? I asked. His smile twitched. This is a reset, for you. For me. For what you think you saw. He said. I laughed. Cracked on the way out. I watched the whole thing. You watched one thing and you saw it how you wanted to see it. He corrected. I saw you torture someone. You saw me make a decision you weren't supposed to see. He stood then, too fast, pacing to the kitchen and back like the energy in him couldn't settle. You're scared. I get that. But Liam, you matter to me. I flinched. He noticed. I always knew you were different from Aiden, softer, smarter, honest. And honest people, they're dangerous. They don't know when to lie, not even to themselves. He said, stepping closer. Untie me, I said. He touched the tape. His fingers were too gentle. I will when I know you won't hurt yourself, he said. I stared at him. I'm not the one hurting me. He smiled again. That broken, calm smile like none of this was abnormal. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a box cutter. My breath caught. He flicked it open, click, and slid it under the tape. I winced. But he didn't cut me. Just the tape. It dropped to the floor like a dead thing. There, no more restraints, he said. My skin burned where the tape had been. He stepped back, arms open like he expected a thank you. I stayed silent. He motioned toward the hallway. Come on. I'll show you your room. The hallway was narrow. Just 2 doors. The one on the left opened into a small room with a twin mattress, a desk, and nothing else. No window. No light switch. Derek pointed to the vent above the door. Air comes through there. There's a light, but I control it from the kitchen. You control it? I don't want you bumping around at night and hurting yourself, right? Because you care. I do, he said. He turned to leave. I hesitated, then asked, what if I don't want to understand? He stopped, back still to me, then quietly, then we start over, again, and again, until you understand. He left the room. The light shut off behind him. Dark, not pitch black, but close. I stood still for a long time, letting the dark press against me like fingers. I didn't cry. I didn't scream, but my knees gave out around the 2-hour mark. I curled on the mattress, hands shaking, trying not to breathe too loud. The quiet was worse than screaming would have been, because it meant he didn't need to yell, because it meant he thought this was working. Chapter 4. The first lesson. When the light flicked on, I wasn't sure I had slept at all. My eyes were open, but my body didn't believe me. My arms felt like someone else's. My skin buzzed with static that hadn't stopped since last night. A quiet knock on the door, more like a tap. Deliberate. Timed. Then Derek's voice. Morning. My mouth was dry. I didn't answer. The door creaked open. Just a crack. I'm not coming in. Just letting you know breakfast is ready, he said. Then he left. Not a threat. Not even a command. But I sat there for 10 more minutes, staring at the vent. I told myself I wouldn't go out there. But I did. The kitchen looked the same as last night, but now sunlight filtered through the slats in the ceiling. Dust floated like ash. He'd made eggs and toast. The table was clean. 2 chairs. 1 plate already served. He motioned for me to sit. I didn't. I'm not hungry. He nodded, then sat and ate his food in silence. He didn't push me, just ate slowly, like everything was normal. The normalcy was the worst part. Like he was showing me, this can be easy. Or not. Your move. I sat across from him. Still didn't eat. After he finished, he spoke. I want to try something new today. I raised an eyebrow. Locking me in a smaller room? He ignored that. I believe in structure. Routine. It's what people need when they've been unmoored. Don't act like this is therapy. I'm not acting. You're not a prisoner, Liam. He folded his hands. I let out a sharp, humorless laugh. You kidnapped me. I relocated you. For what? He held my gaze. to fix what broke between us. My hands clenched under the table. What broke between us is you being a monster. He didn't flinch. Words like that, they're designed to push people away. I'm not leaving, so let's skip that phase. He stood. Come with me. I didn't move. He tilted his head. Now. The cabin had a back room I hadn't seen. Wooden shelves. A small workout bench. A basket of folded laundry that made my skin crawl with its domesticity. He pointed at a stool in the center of the room. Sit. I stared at him. What is this? Your first lesson. In what? He smiled. Cooperation. When I didn't move, he stepped closer. His hand brushed mine. Gentle again. Like he always was when he wanted something. I yanked my hand back. He didn't react. Just whispered. I'm trying to make this easier. For you, I hissed. No, for us. His voice dropped lower. I sat just to make it stop. He crouched in front of me, eyes studying mine. You're not going to win this by freezing me out, Liam. Silence isn't power. It's a wall. And I will wait until it crumbles. I'm not trying to win. I'm just trying not to disappear, I said. His face shifted then. Something flickered. Fine. Day 1. Silence. He left me there. Door open. But I didn't move. Hours passed. No sound but birds and the wind through rotting wood. I waited for something to happen. Punishment. Threats. But nothing came. Eventually, I went back to the bedroom. Sat on the mattress. The quiet felt like pressure. That night, he brought me dinner. Didn't say a word. He placed the tray down and sat beside me. On the floor. Close. Too close. He didn't touch me. He just sat. His shoulder near mine. His breath slow and calm. Like we were sharing something. I sat frozen. Every muscle locked. I don't want to break you. I want you to see me again. His hand brushed my knee. I jerked away. Still, he didn't flinch. He looked at me like I was the fragile one. I'm proud of you for lasting the day. I looked at him, confused. You didn't scream. You didn't beg. That takes control. I like that. The compliment felt like oil in my lungs. He stood. No lights tonight. You've earned rest. I waited until he left. Until the lock clicked. And then I finally let myself shake. Chapter 5. The Silence Game. I didn't say a single word the next morning. Not when Derek knocked. Not when he said, "Good morning, Liam." Like we were roommates and I was just being difficult. I sat up on the edge of the bed and stared straight ahead. I didn't even look at him. He paused in the doorway, waiting. When I didn't speak, he gave a small, quiet breath. Not frustrated. Just accepting. All right, let's see how long you can keep this up, he said. He still made breakfast. Still set 2 plates. Still sat across from me with this gentle half-smile that made me want to throw the eggs against the wall and scream until my voice cracked in half. But I didn't. I stared at the table, then at the wall behind him. I ate in silence. He tried the smallest questions first. How did you sleep? Nothing. Dream anything? Not even a blink. Then, do you miss your brother? That one hit. He knew it would. I gripped the fork a little harder. He saw that. A glint in his eyes like he'd found a seam in the wall. But I didn't speak. I wasn't giving him anything. He couldn't take what I wouldn't offer. Later, he handed me a book. Didn't say a word. Just placed it on the nightstand before walking out. It was some cheap paperback mystery. I didn't touch it. I lay down instead and stared at the ceiling until my eyes burned. I let the silence stretch like wire. I let it hurt, because at least that pain was mine. By the second day, he got clever. He started rewarding me. With nothing obvious. Just little things. He brought me tea before bed. He folded my clothes. Left the shower running long enough for the water to get warm. He didn't speak unless I looked at him first. It was horrifyingly effective. Because he wasn't punishing me for the silence. He was making space for it. Like my silence was a choice he respected. Like we were 2 monks in the same damn monastery. Chapter 6. Breaking point. It started with the key. It was hanging from a nail by the front door, just beneath Derek's coat. I don't know if he forgot, or if he wanted me to see it. He'd gone out back to chop wood. Something stupid and masculine like that. I didn't have a plan. I just had a key. That was enough. The moment he disappeared behind the shed, I moved. Quiet. Fast. My socks barely whispered on the floorboards. I reached up, took it in one quick motion. Cold metal, perfect weight, and slipped it into my waistband. My hands were shaking. I felt alive for the first time in days. Terrified, but alive. I waited until night, pretended to sleep. I gotten good at that. He came into my room, like always, watched me for a minute, just breathing, then left. The front door didn't creak when I opened it. The air was wet and sharp, like biting a pine needle. I didn't look back. I ran. The trees swallowed me instantly. No path, no light, just instinct and adrenaline and the frantic rhythm of my heartbeat thudding in my throat. I ran until my legs screamed, until my lungs were tearing apart. I didn't stop, not even when I tripped on a root and hit the ground so hard. I scrambled up, breathless, and kept running. But I wasn't fast enough. He didn't shout. He didn't call my name. He just appeared, out of the dark, like the fucking forest gave me back to him. He didn't say anything, didn't drag me. He just stood there. "Liam," he whispered. I backed away. He followed, one step at a time. No, stay the fuck back," I said. But he didn't. He dropped to his knees instead, right there in the dirt. "I was trying to do this right," he said. His voice cracked. "You were supposed to feel safe." I stared at him. "I don't feel anything but sick." His breath hitched. He looked up at me and I expected anger. But all I saw was something worse. Something broken. "I thought we were getting better," he whispered. "I thought you were starting to." "To what?" "Fall in love with my kidnapper." "I was trying to protect you," he screamed. The words echoed through the trees. I froze. He stood again, too fast, too unsteady. And then he grabbed me. Not hard. Just enough. Enough to remind me he still could. I struggled. He let go and staggered back. Then he hit himself. Right in the face. Once. Twice. I stared, horrified. "Stop!" I shouted. He kept going. Hands in his hair, hitting the sides of his head, whispering stupid, stupid over and over until I finally grabbed his wrist. He collapsed. Not from force. From grief. Onto his knees, then into the mud. Silent now. Breathing hard. I crouched next to him, heart racing, unsure what the hell I was doing. "Get up," I said. He didn't. He looked up at me again, eyes bloodshot, lips trembling. "I scared you, didn't I?" he asked. I didn't answer. He nodded to himself, then whispered, "I don't want to be like that again." He looked so small, so fucking wrong in that moment. And I hated it. Hated that it made my chest hurt. Hated that part of me didn't want him to get worse. I didn't run again that night. I helped him back to the cabin. We didn't speak. He didn't lock the door. He just sat on the couch, head in his hands. I went back to my room, sat on the edge of the bed, stared at my own hands. They were clean, but they didn't feel like mine anymore. Chapter 7. Threadbare. The next morning, the cabin was too still, like it was waiting for something. I sat at the edge of the bed, staring at my fingers, flexing them open and closed like they belonged to someone else. The bruise on my thigh from the forest fall ached. I heard Derek moving in the kitchen. He didn't knock this time. He just opened the door and stood there, a mug in each hand. One was steaming. Coffee. He offered it to me like peace. I took it, because refusing felt like a statement I wasn't ready to make. He didn't smile, didn't speak, just sat beside me on the edge of the bed and sipped his own. The silence between us wasn't hostile anymore. It was something worse. "You can't do that again," he said. I didn't answer. "I mean it, next time. I won't be able to stop myself," he added, voice flat. I glanced at him, and for once, I didn't see the version of him I hated. I saw the one who hit himself before he ever touched me. I said, "I didn't plan it." His eyes flicked toward me. "Liar." I shrugged. "Okay." We sat in silence again. The coffee burned my tongue. I didn't care. He cleared his throat. I know I'm not what you want me to be. I stared ahead. You mean human? He laughed softly. Not bit no. I mean safe. He paused. Then added, almost like it hurt him. But I want to be. We didn't move from the bed. The sun through the slats cast patterns across the floor like prison bars. I finished my coffee and set the mug on the nightstand. I could feel him looking at me, studying, waiting. You ever wonder what kind of person you were supposed to be? If things had gone different, I said, surprising even myself. I used to, not anymore. He said. Why not? Because it doesn't matter. I'm this now, and I can't afford to regret it. That scared me more than anything he'd said so far, because it meant there was no off-ramp, no version of him I could reach back through. He'd burned that bridge himself, and he was proud of it. Later that day he made dinner. Stir-fry, garlic, too much soy sauce. We sat across from each other. He actually waited for me to eat first. I did. He looked like I just handed him the world. Afterward, we ended up in the living room. The lights dim, the heater ticking softly in the corner. I was sitting on the floor with a pillow against the couch. He sat beside me, legs stretched out. My shoulder brushed his. I didn't move away. That was mistake number one. Or maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe I needed the illusion of softness. He asked, "Do you feel safer now?" I nodded. Barely. "Do you believe I care about you?" I didn't answer. He leaned closer. Not too close, but close enough. "You don't have to accept me," he said. My chest tightened. He reached up. Fingers brushed my hair back. I flinched just a little, but I didn't stop him. That was mistake number two. Or maybe it was a test. He leaned in and kissed me. Soft, quick, like a question. I didn't kiss back, but I didn't pull away. That was mistake number three. Or maybe it was survival. When he pulled back, his eyes searched mine. He looked relieved, like I'd forgiven him, like I'd chosen him. I looked at the floor, because if I looked at him, I'd scream, or cry, or worse, I'd feel something, and I couldn't afford that. Not yet. Chapter 8. Confessions in the Dark. The power flickered once that evening. Then it stayed off. Derek didn't seem surprised. He lit a candle in the kitchen, then another in the living room. He moved with the ease of someone used to outages, someone who planned for them. The silence made every small sound louder. He didn't talk, just placed a candle on the floor between us and sat cross-legged. I didn't ask what we were waiting for. The flicker of the candle cast his face in pieces. Light, shadow, something in between. "I used to hate the dark," he said. His voice wasn't soft. It was thin, like something you'd stretch over a wound. I didn't answer. He didn't need me to. My dad used to lock me in the shed. Said it was character building. He paused. My mom said nothing, even when she knew. Especially when she knew. Still, I said nothing. But I was listening now. Every syllable was a bead on a string. "And you know what the worst part was?" he asked. I glanced at him. His eyes weren't on me. They were on the candle. It worked. I did get stronger, but not in the way they meant. I didn't become brave. I just learned how to pretend. He whispered. Could have said me too, but I didn't. He let the silence breathe. Then added, "When I met Aiden, it was the first time someone treated me like I wasn't broken. Not all the time." He smiled faintly. Of course, he was too dumb to realize I was using him. I flinched. Not because I cared about Aiden in that moment, but because I realized how casually Derek could say that. Like using people wasn't the crime, just a given. "But then I saw you and you looked at me like you saw me. Not like Aiden. Not like the others," he said. I felt the walls rising in my chest, slow and instinctive. "No, you saw what you wanted to see," I said. "Maybe, but it was real to me. I wanted to laugh, or scream, or throw the candle at his face. Instead, I asked, 'When did it start?' He met my eyes then. 'You,' I swallowed. 'Me what? When did it start? When did the obsession begin?' He hesitated. Then, 'Your 15th birthday.' My breath stopped. I wasn't even. You were vulnerable, quiet, left out, and you smiled at me when I brought the cake in. He said, "That's not love," I said. "I know." His voice was too steady. "I know that now." The silence thickened. He leaned back on his hands. Candlelight danced across his collarbones. "I'm not asking you to love me," he said. "Good. But I want you to know. I didn't plan this to hurt you. I just didn't know any other way to keep you." My stomach twisted. Is that what the other guy was? The one in the video? His jaw tightened. He crossed a line. With Aiden. With me. "So you made an example of him?" "I made sure he wouldn't cross anyone again." "That's not justice, Derek. That's revenge." "I know." He said it like he didn't care. Or maybe like he did, too much. "Why are you telling me this now?" I asked. He smiled, tired. "Because I want you to understand what kind of monster I am." "And then what?" "And then maybe you'll see I'm not pretending anymore." That was the worst part. He wasn't. I went to bed without speaking again. He didn't follow me. Didn't lock the door. The candle still burned in the living room when I closed my eyes. And in the dark, all I could hear was his voice. It worked. I did get stronger. I just learned how to pretend. Chapter 9, The First Voluntary Touch. I woke to the sound of something breaking. Glass. Or maybe bones. My heart jumped straight into my throat. For a second, I didn't remember where I was. Then it all came back. The stale air, the wooden ceiling, the stillness like a held breath, and the sound. Low, pained, whispers. Not words, just noise. I slid out of bed barefoot, stepping carefully over the creaky floorboard near the door. I didn't know why I was doing this. I told myself it was survival, curiosity, intel. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't concern. That's what I told myself. Derek was on the couch, curled inward, shirt twisted, back arched slightly like something was crawling up his spine. His mouth moved without sound. His hands clenched the blanket like it was a lifeline. Then he whispered, loud enough for me to hear, "Don't go. Please, please don't go." My stomach twisted. He sounded like a child, like me once. I could have walked away, should have, but I stepped closer. His face was wet, not just sweat, tears. His breathing ragged. I stood over him, unmoving, for what felt like a full minute. Then he gasped, loud, and started to shake, and I moved before I could stop myself. I crouched down beside the couch and put my hand lightly on his arm. His eyes flew open, wide, terrified, confused. He stared at me like I was the dream. "Liam?" he rasped. I didn't speak. I didn't move my hand. He sat up slowly, breathing hard, staring like he couldn't believe I was real. "I thought," he started, then stopped. I pulled my hand back. Too late. The damage was done. He touched the spot where I'd held him, like it meant something. The room smelled like sweat and old wood and unsaid things. "You were dreaming," I said. He swallowed, rubbed his eyes. "I'm sorry." "For what?" I asked. He looked at me, and for the first time I saw something close to shame. Being like this, I sat on the floor, back against the couch. "I used to wake up screaming every night, but not here. Not with you," he said. "Then why now?" He didn't answer right away. Then, "Because I keep waiting for you to run again. I might. I know." He glanced down at me. His voice was quieter now. Not pleading, just real. "You didn't have to come out here. I didn't do it for you." "I know, but you still came," he said. We sat like that for a long time. I don't know what I was feeling. It wasn't comfort, but it wasn't hate either. And that terrified me more than anything he'd done to me. Because if I didn't hate him, then what was left? Eventually, he reached down, just a small motion, and touched my hair. I froze. He didn't pet me, didn't stroke, just a tap like a thank you. Then he stood and walked back to his room. Didn't lock the door behind him. Didn't say goodnight. And I sat there in the candlelit dark, hating him, hating myself more, because I had gone to him, because I had touched him first. Chapter 10. a test of trust. I woke to the sound of birds, and for a moment I forgot where I was. Then I turned my head and saw the ceiling. Wooden, slatted, trapped. The door opened gently. Derek stepped in without knocking. "Put on your shoes, you're going outside," he said. I sat up, slowly, stared at him. He didn't elaborate, didn't explain, just turned and walked back down the hallway. I found my shoes where I left them by the door, dusty, but intact. As I laced them up, I kept waiting for the catch. Nothing came. When I stepped outside, the air hit me like cold water. It was clearer than I remembered, sharper. Every tree looked taller. Every color looked brighter. The forest felt too big. And Derek was just standing there, hands in his coat pockets, waiting. "You didn't lie," I said. He looked at me, like it hurt that I'd expected him to. "I said I want you to feel safe," he replied. "Since when do cages have backyards?" He didn't rise to it, just gestured toward the path. "I'll follow. You walk ahead." I walked, one foot in front of the other, slowly at first, then faster. The path curved down into a shallow slope, where pine needles blanketed the ground. My legs felt shaky, weak, but the sun on my skin made me feel human again. Alive. He didn't say a word behind me, just followed like a shadow. About 20 minutes in, I saw it. A metal post, rusted, an old trail marker, the first man-made thing I'd seen in weeks. I made a choice then, quick, careful. I slid my thumb under the third button of my flannel shirt, loose already, and tugged, popped off, fell into the leaves. Small, black, plastic, nothing anyone would notice, unless they were looking. I kept walking. Derek didn't comment, didn't ask. Not then. By the time we got back to the cabin, my chest felt tight with something I didn't have a name for. Guilt? Hope? Fear? All of them, maybe. He unlocked the front door like a gentleman, held it open for me, let me step inside first. Then he locked it behind us. Click, back in the cage. Dinner was quiet. I picked at the food, eyes low. When I finally glanced up, he said, "Lose something?" I blinked. "What?" He tilted his head. "Your shirt. There's a button missing." My stomach dropped. I opened my mouth, closed it. "It's old, it fell off before." I lied. "Did it?" He stood, slow, walked to the counter, opened a drawer, and held something up. The button, the same one, still smeared with dirt, still mine. "I found it by the marker post," he said. His voice didn't shake, but his eyes did. "I trusted you. Don't start this, you don't get to be the hurt one," I said. He didn't respond, didn't yell, just breathed. And that was worse. "I let you out, no chains, no threats, just us. And you dropped a breadcrumb like I'm F*** **king witch." He whispered. "I had to try." I snapped. "Try what?" "To get rescued. To exist." He stared at me, for a long time. Then he did the last thing I expected. He dropped the button, and stepped back, farther than he needed to, then sat down, hard, like he didn't trust his legs. "I don't want to punish you," he said. "I don't want your mercy." He laughed once, hollow. "I don't want to be this thing you're afraid of. Then stop being it." I don't know how. We stared at each other. Nothing between us but old wood and newer lies. Then, quietly, he said, "You were the only thing I didn't want to ruin." My throat burned. "You already did." That night, the lock stayed undone. The button sat on the counter, and I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, because part of me wanted to cry, not for me, but for him, and that was the most dangerous part of all. Chapter 11. What makes a monster? It was raining when I finally asked, the kind of rain that eats the sky. No thunder, no lightning, just gray pressed against the windows like a fever dream. We were eating in silence again. I waited until he set his fork down. Then I said it. "The man in the video. Who was he?" He didn't look up, didn't flinch, just dragged a napkin through his fingers like he was braiding it. "Aiden's friend, not a good one," he said. "What did he do?" "The truth," I asked. Derek's jaw moved once. He didn't blink. He hurt you. I froze. No, he didn't. Yes, he did, he said. When? You didn't even know it. But I did, Derek said. His eyes finally lifted to meet mine. He talked about you when you were 16, asked questions, joked. He paused. Then I saw him one night, staring. Derek. I told Aiden, but your brother's blind. He let him stay. Laugh. Touch your shoulder, he said. He took a breath. That was the moment I knew I had to protect you. My skin felt tight, like it didn't fit right. You tortured him. I made him understand, Derek corrected. No, you enjoyed it. I felt relief, not joy, he said. That's not protection. That's insane. He stared at me. Would you rather I let him stay? Let him near you? Watch him get bolder every week until nothing happened. But it could have. I stood pacing now. My hands were shaking. I didn't know if it was rage or confusion or just pure vertigo. You're justifying it. I'm explaining it. Because you're not sorry. No, he said. And that one word hit harder than anything he'd done so far. He stood too slowly. Walked toward me. Hands open like he was approaching something fragile. You think I want to be this way? Do you think I don't wake up and wonder if there's still a version of me that could've? He asked. Stopped. He nodded. Yes, stopped. Let go. But I can't. Why? Because you matter too much. I laughed. A sharp, bitter sound. You don't love me. You love control. He didn't argue. Just said, maybe. But what if that's the only way I know how to love? The room was too small. The air too thin. My chest was caving in and my thoughts were moving too fast and I needed to get away. But I didn't move. And neither did he. He said, you hate me. I accept that. He stepped closer. I caged you. I accept that too. Another step. But you're still here. I whispered. Because you won't let me leave. No. Because part of you wants to understand. His voice was a breath. And the worst part? He wasn't entirely wrong. He reached up and touched my cheek. I flinched but didn't pull away. His thumb ran just under my eye. You're not a prisoner, Liam. You're a mirror. What the hell does that mean? He smiled softly. It means I see what I could have been in you. And I want to be close to that. Even if it burns me. I stepped back. He didn't follow. Didn't beg. He just nodded once. Like I'd passed some test he hadn't explained. That night, I lay awake again. And all I could think was, if I'm his mirror, then what part of him is looking back through me? Chapter 12, The Brother Returns. The knock came like a gunshot. 3 quick bangs. Then silence. I was in the kitchen. My whole body stopped. Time split in half. Before the knock. And after. Derek froze too. He was cutting carrots. He didn't flinch, but his hands stilled. Knife on the board. Soundless. I whispered, who? Then came the voice. Muffled. Familiar. Liam. Aiden. Derek moved. Not fast. Not frantic. Just with that same chilling composure I hated. He wiped his hands. Walked to the door. Turned the knob. And opened it like this was a sitcom. Aiden stood in the doorway. Jacket soaked with rain. Eyebrows drawn. He looked older than I remembered. Tired. But the relief on his face was instant when he saw me over Derek's shoulder. Holy shit, Liam. He stepped inside without asking. And Derek let him. Aiden grabbed me in a hug before I could react. His arms wrapped around me. Tight. Familiar. I didn't move. I didn't hug back. He pulled away, frowning. What the hell's going on? You just vanished. You don't answer texts, your phone's off, and Mom thought you were staying at Luke's. But Luke hadn't seen you in. Derek stepped in. Calm. Smooth. He's been with me. Aiden turned to him, confused. What? Derek offered a patient smile. He had a rough patch. Needed space. Didn't want to explain it to anyone. So he came here. I opened my mouth. Then closed it. Aiden looked between us. Waiting. Is that true? He asked. He was asking me. Not Derek. Me. My mouth was dry. My heartbeat sounded like gunfire behind my ribs. Derek's presence beside me felt like a wall I couldn't get around. Aiden stepped closer. Liam. I looked him dead in the eye and said the worst thing I've ever said in my life. Yeah, it's true. The lie tasted like blood, but it came out clean. Smooth. Polished. Derek looked down at the floor for just a breath, and I knew what that meant. He thought I was saving him. He had no idea I was saving myself. Aiden exhaled hard. Dude, Jesus, you scared the shit out of me. I thought. I'm fine, I said. Another lie. I just needed space. Derek gestured to the couch. Sit. Stay a bit. I'll make tea. Like nothing was wrong. Like this was normal. Aiden sat. Rubbed his face. You look thinner, are you eating? He said to me. Yeah. Derek walked into the kitchen. I could hear the kettle start. Aiden leaned closer, his voice dropping. You okay? I didn't nod. Didn't blink. I just whispered. Don't ask that. He paused. Eyes narrowing. What the hell does that mean? I smiled. Sharp. Shallow. Exactly what it sounds like. He didn't get it. Not really. But something about my tone made him back off. For now. Derek returned with tea in mismatched mugs. Set them down. Smiled. Wore that smile like a perfect suit. Aiden stayed 38 minutes. I counted every second. When he stood to leave, Derek didn't stop him. Didn't say a word as Aiden hugged me again. Softer this time. Less sure. You'll come home soon, right? He asked. I nodded. Didn't say when. Didn't say how. The door closed behind him. Silence. Heavy. Derek didn't speak. He just turned to me, eyes unreadable, then said, Thank you. I walked past him, straight to my room. I didn't slam the door. I just sat on the bed, heart hollow, because the scariest part wasn't that I lied. It's that I'd gotten good at it. Chapter 13, the final breakdown. The cabin got quiet after Aiden left. Not peaceful. Hollow. Like someone had cut the power to the soul of the place. Derek started cooking more, as if food could fill the silence. He'd call my name gently, lay out the plates, pour water into mismatched glasses. But I barely ate, barely looked at him. I wasn't angry. Not anymore. I was done. And I think that scared him more. One night, I caught him staring at the wall, just sitting there. No book, no music, not even a candle. His eyes were unfocused. Like he wasn't seeing the wall at all. Like he was watching something behind it. Say something, he said one night, as I scraped my leftovers into the trash. I didn't look at him. There's nothing left to say. You lied for me. I shrugged. I lied for me. His voice cracked. I thought that meant something. I turned, really looked at him, and for the first time in weeks, I spoke without flinching. It did. It meant I knew what you'd do if I told the truth. He didn't follow me to my room, didn't try to apologize, just sat there, hands trembling on the table. That night, I woke to the sound of glass shattering. For a moment I thought it was a dream. Then came the second crash. And then laughter. Derek's. I ran into the living room barefoot. There he was, on the floor, bottle near his hand. Whiskey, maybe, something sharp. The bookshelf was knocked sideways. The candle holder smashed. He looked up at me, eyes red, face flushed. Hey, sunshine, he slurred. I froze. What are you doing? Celebrating, he said, raising the bottle. He laughed again, choked on it, fell sideways against the couch. You're free now, right? You don't talk, don't touch, don't even look at me, he said. He wiped his face with the back of his hand. I think that's worse than hate, Liam. I should have walked away, let him fall, let him choke on his grief. But I didn't, because what I saw next made every hair on my body stand up. The knife, on the couch, glinting, clean, and the way he looked at it, not frantic, just ready. I crossed the room in 2 steps, grabbed it. He didn't resist, didn't lunge, just laughed again, bitter now. I'm tired, Liam. You don't get to be tired. He blinked. You don't get to check out. I snapped. I held the knife like it was radioactive. You think this fixes what you did? He sat up slowly. His hands were shaking. I thought if I disappeared, maybe. No, you don't get that. You don't get forgiveness by vanishing, I said. We stared at each other. Broken mirror and bloodless ghost. He whispered, "You hate me." I said nothing. He nodded. I hate me too. And I swear, for a second I almost believed him. I walked to the kitchen, dropped the knife into the sink. Hard. I didn't sleep that night. Neither did he. We sat in different rooms, breathing, not speaking, held together by nothing but silence, and shared ruin. Chapter 14, The Long Night. Snow started falling around midnight. I watched it from the kitchen window. It was silent, like the sky was dissolving. Behind me, Derek was still on the couch, curled inward. He hadn't spoken in hours, hadn't moved since I pulled the blanket over him. Just lay there, breathing slow, shallow, distant. I should have left, could have left. The keys were in the drawer. The door was unlocked. And yet, I filled a glass with water, took it to him, kneeling, like he was the injured one. Drink, I said. He blinked up at me like it took effort. Didn't speak, didn't take the glass. I sighed, held it to his mouth. He sipped, barely. Water dripped down his chin. I wiped it with my sleeve. I hated myself for that. He whispered something then, soft, muffled. What? His lips moved again. Are you cold? I stared at him, then stood, walked away. I made soup with shaking hands. I brought the bowl to him and sat on the floor beside the couch. He didn't sit up, so I lifted the spoon to his mouth myself. He took a bite, then another, and slowly, like he was remembering how, he spoke. I thought you'd run. I should've. Why didn't you? I looked at him, at the hollow beneath his eyes, the bruise-colored shadows across his face. I don't know, I whispered, but that was a lie. I did know, because if he vanished, there'd be no one left to answer for what happened. Because part of me still thought I could drag him to the finish line of remorse and make him look back. He finished the soup, sank deeper into the couch, sighed like it hurt. I'm tired, he said again. I didn't respond. Of being this, of hurting people just to feel something. He looked at me then, and said something I wasn't ready for. Can I stay like this? With you, just for tonight, not pretending, just still. I said nothing. He reached a trembling hand toward mine, didn't touch it, just hovered there, like a moth circling heat. I let his fingers brush mine. That was all. And for the first time, he didn't push for more. The cabin creaked. The snow thickened. I sat beside him until his breathing evened out. Not asleep, just resting. Chapter 15, Home. Finally, after spending 3 days like that trying to fix the missing paces in him, he decided to let me go. Willingly. Like he is tired of all of this, and want to find himself. The first night back at my own home, I couldn't sleep in my room. It smelled like detergent and someone else's idea of normal. So I curled up on the floor in the hallway. Aiden found me there at 3 a.m. He didn't say anything, just sat down beside me and handed me a blanket. Mom cried for a week, then never mentioned it again. Aiden started hovering, offering coffee, checking my phone, asking if I wanted to talk. I said not yet. I meant never. They told me Derek was in psychiatric custody. 3 evaluations. Suicidal, obsessive, unfit for trial. I asked where. They wouldn't tell me. Maybe for my safety. Maybe because they didn't think I deserved the answer. I didn't argue. I didn't ask again. School was a joke. I couldn't sit still in chairs that weren't bolted down. Couldn't handle open windows. Couldn't stand being touched. People whispered. Some stared. No one asked directly, except Luke. He cornered me in the parking lot. Said, "Hey, where the hell were you?" I just looked at him, dead in the eyes, and said, "Lost." He didn't ask again. It was a Thursday when the letter came. Plain white envelope. No return address. Just my name. Neat handwriting. I knew before I opened it. Knew before I even touched it. I read it alone, sitting cross-legged on the floor of the laundry room. The only room in the house that didn't have memories in it. Liam, if I ruined you, I hope you heal. If you think of me, I hope it's real. If you hate me, I understand. If you don't, I won't. You were the first person I ever wanted to be good for. I didn't make it, but I meant it. I just folded the letter and set it beside the detergent bottles. Then sat there, staring at the floor, until my knees went numb. That night, I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Same ceiling I used to dream under. Same one I used to count stars on. Now it just looked like drywall, dead and plain. Around 2 a.m. it hit me. Not all at once. Not even like a wave. Just a slow, rising tightness in my chest. A crack behind the ribs. A breath that wouldn't come. I curled onto my side. Felt it all. Let it happen. The first sob came quiet. The second louder. Then it broke, really broke. And I cried. Everything all at once. Not for Derek. Not just for me. But for the boy I had been. The one who smiled too easily. Who trusted too fast. Who thought monsters always looked like monsters. I cried because it was over. And I didn't know who I was without it. Later I burned the letter. Not to erase it, but to set it down. I watched the ashes curl in the sink. Let them go cold. Then ran the tap until the evidence swirled down the drain like ink. The next morning I made coffee. Stood in the kitchen. I wasn't better, but I was here. And that had to count for something. Epilogue. A quiet place to begin. 6 months later. The spring now. The kind of spring that doesn't beg for attention. Just shows up quietly. A blade of grass. A new bird call. Less frost on the windshield in the morning. I go to community college now. Part-time. 2 classes. 1 online. It's manageable. Some days I can't do it. Some days I leave early. Some days I sit in the library and stare at the clock until it feels like time is listening. But I'm still going. That's something. They asked me if I wanted to change my name. Legal forms. Psychological recommendation. Fresh start, they said. I said no. I didn't want to disappear. I wanted to exist. Even if the name was still heavy. Even if it still made people glance sideways. I keep the front door unlocked now. Not always. Just when I'm home. It's not about bravery. It's about choice. The first time I did it, I sat by the door all night. Just sat there. Waiting for something. It never came. Eventually, I fell asleep against the wall. And when I woke up, I was still there. Still safe. There's a park near campus. Quiet. Empty on weekday mornings. Today I bring my sketchpad. I'm not good, but it helps. Drawing trees is easier than explaining how it felt to be erased. While I'm sitting on a bench, someone walks by. Girl. Maybe my age. Maybe younger. Big headphones. Scuffed boots. Oversized hoodie. She glances at me. Double takes. Then says, "Hey, that's good." I look down at my sketch. It's not. But I say, "Thanks." She smiles. Keeps walking. Doesn't ask my name. Doesn't ask what happened to me. And just like that, I exist in someone's world without explanation. It's small, but it fills something. I go home. Do my reading. Call Aiden. He talks about traffic and work and some girl he's trying to impress. I don't say much, but I listen. He sounds normal. It helps. Before bed, I look out the window. No snow. No forest. No cabin. Just streetlights. And a cat sitting on a neighbor's porch like it owns the whole town. I breathe in. Then I whisper to no one. I'm still here. And I believe it. For the first time, I actually believe it.